Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss digestive system. In previous video, we have gone through the anatomy and the physiology of digestive system. Today we are going to discuss accessory organs which supports the digestive system. And myself Dinesh Dangar. While coming to the accessory organs, we have three accessory organs while considering digestive system, which helps in the absorption of food materials. Here we are going to the accessory organs. There are three accessory organs like pancreas, gallbladder and the spleen. Here in diagram we can see these three. First, that is liver, which is divided into three lobes. Next is gallbladder. Next is the pancreas. As you can see here, some kinds of tubes that may be arising from the liver, gallbladder and the pancreas. Here, liver and the gallbladder, which shares a common pathway, that is bile duct or the tube which carries bile juices. These juices are formed in liver and concentrated in gallbladder. First of all, gallbladder. Gallbladder is a sac or a pouch-like structure and which serves as the reservoir of the bile. And this pouch structure that is located just near to the liver. And while coming to their functions, it concentrates and stores bile for a temporary duration. It is placed anteriorly under the liver and it will be present on its right abdominal surface. Here it opens through the duct, right? There will be a duct. That duct, that is cystic duct, which is joined by the common hepatic duct, and these two forms are bile duct. So here one thing that we need to understand here, that gallbladder stores bile juices temporarily. As those bile juices are formed in liver, it will be carried to the gallbladder. Next is for concentration or concentrated form. Next is after that they will be released with the help of that bile duct and it will be released into the opening of the duodenum with pancreatic juices. And this bile duct is a long tube that carries bile. The top half of the common bile duct is associated with the liver. First, almost 50% that is associated with liver, while the bottom half of the common bile duct is associated with the pancreas, through which it passes on its way to the intestine. Here, the duct carries the bile juices and opens jointly with the pancreatic duct into the duodenum. Even there will be a presence of sphincter or sphincter like a gate, right? Now it contracts under the influences of cholecystokinin, a kind of gastrointestinal hormone. Remember, it contracts under the influences of the cholecystokinin, which is a gastrointestinal hormone, and it will be regulated through the autonomic nervous system, that is ANS. Here, both juices, that is the bile that may be released from the liver and concentrated in gallbladder with pancreatic, are poured simultaneously into the duodenum to digest and the facilitation of the absorption of the food material. Here, while considering the gallbladder, it is the main sac for the storage of biles, and it has got certain functions like it acts as a reservoir of bile. It concentrates bile and helps into the absorption of water and certain inorganic salts. Here it concentrates the bile and about 10 cc of liver bile is concentrated to 1 cc of gallbladder bile. So that we can come to know that, that how exactly that means, that concentrated, right? If 10 cc of liver bile is entering into the gallbladder, it may undergo concentration to form just 1 cc of the bile juice. Here, it secretes mucus and it excretes cholesterol into it. Here, gallbladder maintains the pressure into the biliary duct. Here we can see in diagram gallbladder. Next is the cystic duct, which carries that concentrated bile, and there will be it joins with the common hepatic duct, forming common bile duct. Next is bile. What is bile? Bile is a secretory as well as an excretory products of the liver. Right? They are the products of the liver. Here, common bile duct that takes the bile juices to the duodenum. Bile is continuously synthesized in the liver. Right? It will be continuously synthesized in liver, but entry of this specific bile takes place only after the ingestion of food. It may not be secreting continuously. Here, the major function for the bile, that is to emulsify the lipids. With the help of that emulsification of lipids, it physically breaks apart those fat molecules from the larger to the smaller fragments. Here, it is a complete fluid which contains many substances, but there will not be a presence of any kinds of enzyme. While considering taste, it is bitter in nature. Color, greenish yellow alkaline fluid, and it will be stored in the gallbladder between the meals, right? Between two meals. Again, bile juices will be secreted 24 into 7 from the liver, and again it will be stored into the gallbladder for concentrated or for the further concentration of it. But between these two meals, these processes will be carried out. Once meal have completed, after that, as soon as that food material that enters into the duodenum, at very same time, that specific food, bile juices will be added into it. Right? That is what upon eating, it is discharged into the duodenum, where it aids the process of digestion. While considering functions, this red color indicates they all are the functions of the bile juices or bile. Bile is very useful for the health. Though it does not contain any enzyme, it indirectly helps into the digestion and absorption. With fat digestion, absorption, laxative action, it acts as a buffer, excretion, pH, cholagogue, and the secretagogue. While coming to the digestion of fat, it helps into the complete digestion of fats by reducing surface tension. Here, it activates certain enzymes like lipase, and it is also a good solvent for the fats and the fat splitting enzymes. Here, bile aids the absorption of fats, carbohydrate, and the proteins. Second function, that is absorption. Here, bile salts even help into the absorption of certain substances like fats, iron, calcium, and vitamins. Vitamin could be vitamin A, D, E, and K. And as we know that these are all are fat soluble vitamins. Next is, that is laxative action. Even bile produces laxative action because it stimulates the peristalsis movement into the large colon and produces the laxative action. Next is, it acts as a buffer because bile contains mucin, right? And this mucin acts as a buffer. Next is excretion function. Here, there will be a release of certain heavy metals, toxins, cholesterol, bacteria, and the lecithin. They all are excreted by the bile. While considering pH, here it maintains suitable pH, and even that maintenance of that pH helps into the actions of the all these enzymes. Next actions, that is cholagogue and the secretagogue. What is cholagogue? Here, bile stimulates the biliary secretion, right? That specific bile which is released from the liver acts as a biliary secretion. So, this effect can be termed as a cholagogue action. Whereas secretagogue, bile stimulates the secretin. On the name of that secretin, the actions can be termed as a secretagogue. This secretin, a kind of local hormone which stimulates the pancreatic, biliary and intestinal secretion. Right? So, these are the functions of the bile. Next organ, that is pancreas. Right? So, pancreas, as we know that, a kind of organ which secretes both, or while considering their functions, right? They may have a exocrine role as well as the endocrine role. It will have a both the roles, that is exocrine functioning as well as endocrine. While considering exocrine functioning, it releases enzymes, that is digestive enzymes, and considering hormones that may have a role into the endocrine function. So it is a mixed type of gland consisting these two, exocrine and the endocrine functioning or the part. It is situated transversely on the posterior upper abdominal wall. So the sequence will be like that, from the from the superior to the inferior. That is first liver, next is gallbladder, and next one lower side. At the lower side or at the basement, there will be a presence of pancreas. In pancreas, a kind of secretory cells will be present, and considering their anatomy, we can divide into three parts, that is head, body and tail of the pancreas. Generally, the head is to the right into the concavity of the C-shaped duodenum, and the tail, it reaches to the left side to touch the spleen. Pancreatic juice digests all major nutrient types. Clearly, all digestion occurs into the small intestine, and all digestion is completed in the small intestine itself. While considering exocrine part of the pancreas, it is made up of lobules, and these lobules will be full of those secretory cells which secretes pancreatic juice. Here again, this process will be carried out by the pancreatic duct, which runs the lengthwise and opens into the duodenum along with the bile duct that may be coming from the gallbladder. It will in the form of concentrated bile, and after that it says a common bile duct. Here we can see that the pancreas, right, or while considering the pathway for the juices secreted from the bile, concentrated in gallbladder, and from that there it enters into the bile duct, and in same bile duct the pancreatic juices will be added simultaneously, and it will be added into the opening of the duodenum as soon as food enters into the duodenum. Here pancreatic juices contains the digestive enzymes which helps into the digestion of carbohydrate, proteins and the fats. These digestive proteins are trypsin and chymotrypsin. Even there will be a digestion of starch by amylase. There will be a presence of the stent buffers, right, which neutralizes the acid which is coming from the stomach. Right. Now, the endocrine part of the pancreas. While considering the endocrine part, see here the pathway is mentioned for the bile juices. So while considering bile juices, the endocrine part that consists of the islets of the Langerhans, as we know that those islets of Langerhans, right, will be situated in pancreas, which consists of the alpha and beta cells. These specific cells secrete, in case suppose alpha cells, it secretes glucagon, and beta cells releases insulin. These both hormones helps to maintain normal blood sugar level, and deficiency of insulin produces a disease, and we all may be aware about the disease, that is diabetes mellitus, right? And that diabetes mellitus we will discuss during the disorders related to the digestive system. Next organ, the third and the major supporting organ, which helps into the digestion and absorption of food material, that is liver. Here, liver is a wedge-shaped organ which may be lying in the upper abdomen below the diaphragm. And what is the diaphragm? Diaphragm is a roof or dome-shaped, one layer which separates both the cavities, that is thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity. In thoracic cavity, there will be a presence of lungs and the heart, whereas in the cases of other organs will be present inside the thoracic cavity. Here, while coming to the liver, the major part is those lobes. Into that, the major portion is right lobe, which is situated on the right side, and the left lobe with its apex into the left side. While considering their weight, approximately liver may weigh around 1.5 kgs on an average, in adult healthy human being. While considering their surface, it will have two surfaces here, that is the superior convex portion and the inferior concave region, with two borders, interior sharp border and the blunt posterior border. The upper surface is under the diaphragm and the lower surface approximates with the stomach and the duodenum. For understanding, the lobe is divided into two parts, and these two are connected with the help of a kind of ligamentous band, and that ligamentous band can be called as a falciform ligament. Here, liver is the liver of the body. See, try to understand these words. Liver is the liver of the body. I am talking about LIVER. That liver is a LEVER of the body. As all of you will be aware about the two-wheeler or the four-wheeler or kinds of vehicles. In those vehicles there will be a lever, right? That lever accelerates the speed of the vehicle. Just like here, lever acts as a lever which accelerates the functioning, right? Which accelerates the digestion and the absorption of food material. While considering absorption of food material will be exhaled. And why we used to call it as a liver of the body? Because it synthesizes, it secretes, it excretes, stores, generates, metabolizes, protects, and detoxicates various substances. While considering the physiology of liver, right? In cases of physiology of liver, it has got 11 parameters where exactly they used to work. Here, while considering the human health, it is the key for the human body. If more than half of the liver is destroyed, the person gradually dies. This shows the importance of liver. Here, first, that is carbohydrate metabolism. While considering carbohydrate metabolism, it includes all those monosaccharides, and these monosaccharides will get converted into the glucose, where in liver. Other than this, lactic acid, pyruvic acid, and glycerol are converted to the glucose and glycogen in liver. Here, liver even actively participates into the blood glucose regulation. It is the site for the glycogenesis. Try to understand the word glycogenesis. Genesis means formation. Glyco, that refers to the glycogen. So here there will be a formation of glycogen from glucose. And that from where exactly this glucose comes? From the food material, what we have absorbed or what we have consumed. So it undertakes glycogenesis as well as glycogenolysis. So that is what? The destruction of glycogen towards the glucose. And when it is required, suppose person is on fasting, he or she may not have a food for a longer duration. In that case, previously stored glycogen will get converted into the glucose and it will be liberated into the secretion. Now, next is it even includes neoglycogenesis. See here word neo. Next is glyco. Next is genesis. It means it forms glycogen, but other than the glucose sources or other than the carbohydrates, especially from the proteins and the fats. Here there will be a synthesis of fat from the carbohydrate, right? So that is all about the carbohydrate metabolism. Next is protein metabolism. Here the liver is the center for the deamination of those amino acids. So deamination takes place here in liver. Even urea and uric acid will be formed and it will be generated with the help of bile. Next is amino acids are synthesized in liver. There will be a manufacturing of certain plasma proteins and it also generates the heat by specific dynamic action, that is HDA of the protein. Next function, that is the metabolism of fats. Here fats are synthesized and stored in the liver. Further, it may undergo oxidation with the help of beta oxidation, and these fats are also synthesized from the proteins and the carbohydrates in liver. Liver, liver is the center of formation of ketones. So ketone bodies are formed here in liver. Next function, that is synthesis of vitamins. Here, while considering vitamins, carotene is transformed into vitamin A, and further this vitamin A and vitamin D will be stored in liver. While considering synthesis of prothrombin with the help of vitamin K also takes place here into the liver. There will be a storage of vitamin B12 as well as the folic acid. Next function, that is manufacturing of bile. As we know that bile juices includes bile salts and it includes sodium taurocolate and the sodium glycocolate, and these two are synthesized in liver and it will be synthesized from the cysteine and glycine. These two are amino acids with the help of cholic acid. And further, even it carries the pigments like bilirubin and bilirubin. Further, it can be transported from the spleen and transferred into the gallbladder. Next is certain functions, that is blood related functions, that includes, because as we know that during the fetal life RBCs are formed in liver, whereas blood coagulating factors even that are supplied by the liver and they are like prothrombin. Next is fibrinogen, that fibrinogen helps into the clotting of blood that may be transported to the blood plasma. Next is heparin, right? And this heparin will be synthesized from the mast cells of the liver and it will be transported to the blood plasma. And this heparin acts as a anticoagulant. See word, remember the word anticoagulant, which may not permit coagulation, that is clotting of blood, and it retards the intravascular clotting inside the blood. Here, liver stores the blood which is squeezed out in emergency, right, to normalize the blood volume. Even iron, vitamin B12 and certain folic acid are stored into the liver and further it will get back, or the, carried to the bone marrow via blood as an on required. Liver manufactures or forms albumin, globulin, fibrinogen, and certain other plasma proteins. Next function, it acts as a storehouse. It acts as the storehouse for glycogen. Next is certain vitamins like vitamin B1, B6, B12, vitamin A, vitamin K, and for folic acids, as well as for certain minerals like iron and copper. Next function, that is 8.1, that is heat regulation. Here, biosynthesis of various substances in the liver produces a large quantity of heat. Thus, the liver also contributes towards the regulation of heat. Next is detoxification, the most important function of liver, that is to detoxify certain drugs like nicotine, sulfonamides, or strychnine. Even it helps into the conjugation, that is what the combining of various exogenous and the endogenous substances with other substances to make them harmless, which cannot produce damage to the hepatic cells or any other cells, right? At least it will be less harmful, and further it will be secreted. Next function, that is it protects the body, right? While considering protection, it includes those reticuloendothelial cells, that is what REC or Kupffer cells, which manufactures the antibodies, and these antibodies are will be in a form of agglutinins. Next is precipitants, next is bacteriolysins and the haptins. Here, it protects the body against microbial invasions by the various processes like agglutination, precipitation, and bacteriolysis. Here, Kupffer cells of the RES that also devour the microbes as well as certain foreign bodies, that is from the circulation by the process of phagocytosis. Next is the last function for liver, that is excretion. While considering excretion or excretory function, certain heavy metals which are or which may be toxic in nature, it will be fixed up or the converted into less harmful substances by the liver and finally excreted through the bile via gallbladder, and from the small intestine, large intestine, and the colon, and through the stool it will be liberated from the body. Even certain microbes and their toxins, even it will be excreted or exerted by the bile, like bacteria for the typhoid, right? Typhoid bacteria are excreted through the bile. So here what we have discussed the functions. We have already discussed these functions. What here, that the thing what I forget to discuss during the function or the physiology, that is even this bile contains the colors from the old red blood cells, right? That is collected into the liver, and the ion in RBC rust, and this specific the presence of these ions into the ficus provides brown color to the ficus, and for the the color of the ficus might be because of the that specific ion which is present inside the bile juices. So here what we have already discussed, that is their functions or the physiology of liver, that produces bile, and further that it is stored into the gallbladder until it is needed or asked for it, and it helps into the breakup or the chopping of the larger globules into the smaller globules, and even it helps as a detergent to break up the fats. Here we can see the anatomical conditions of these three accessory organs, that is bile, next is the gallbladder, next is the stomach, next is the pancreatic juice, and the duodenum. So always remember, bile and gallbladder shares a common pathway, right? For bile juices there will be a bile duct. For the gallbladder, which concentrates the bile juices further from 10 cc to 1 cc, and it will be mixed into the or it will be carried to the bile duct, and further into the same bile duct, the pancreatic juices are added, and these three, or the mixture of these three, will be simultaneously added into the opening of the duodenum, and that further it will be called as a intestinal juices. Right? Remember, the combination of these three will be called as intestinal juices. So today we had a discussion about the accessory organs which supports the functions of the digestive system. And further, while considering the digestion as well as the absorption, it aids or it facilitates the processes by releasing bile juices. So we had a discussion on these three, that is gallbladder, next is welcoming to the pancreas, and third one, that is the liver. In cases of, remember, pancreas, it releases these two, that is glucagon, that is from the alpha islets of the Langerhans, and the from the beta cells of the Langerhans, it releases insulin. So that is all about from the today's class. Thank you very much.